Today, we will cover real trading examples from the crypto world with the price action strategies. I'll go over top-down analysis of the market structure and try to get the price bias. I'll talk about how to scalp at really low time frames and how to get confirmations before entries. In the end, I'll talk about Economy 101 and how it affects our day trading life. We will go over everything in step-by-step instructions. Okay, for the newcomers, we continue our price action course with the trading examples. And again, you need to watch the videos in order, because if you miss a video, you'll not understand the terms and keep emailing me like, what is OB? Now let's go. Okay, let's do a top-down analysis. Some people ask me to use the replay button, so today I'll do things a little different. First, I'll quietly analyze the asset, the price action with a replay button. Second, I'll explain what happened and what might happen. If you like this style, please leave a comment below. Let's replay what happened. Okay, let's talk about what happened here. If you're a day trader or scalper, before opening a position, scanning 1, 2, 3, 4 hour charts is a great place to start analysis, to identify the main trend. This is how I started analyzing Bitcoin for this trade. What did I do? I found the clearest structure within a 1 hour time frame. Can you tell me what you see here? An obvious downtrend, as you can see. Price keep breaking down. Can I find a long opportunities with this chart? Absolutely yes, I can find it. But it would require much more analysis and use of many other price action concepts. The best idea is to look for short opportunities rather than the long opportunities. Because global markets are also going down due to inflation concerns and interest rates. Now, as you can see here, we have a very strong break-off structure. And there are a couple of imbalance areas to be filled. This would be my entry zone. This is the main area that I have interest in shorting the Bitcoin. Let's go in 15 minutes time frame and analyze it more. I'm going into quiet mode. There's nothing wrong with your speakers, do not worry. As you can see here, we have a very clear structure break here, and incredible imbalance areas. However, one thing interests me the most. Do you remember the order blocks video and engulfing pattern? As you can see, there is an extremely powerful supply area here. Call it an order block, call it an engulfing pattern. I do not care at all. Call it whatever you want. What matters is the meaning. There's some supply here, pushing the price down very strongly. As you can see, something happens here. Price dropped strongly. This is a market maker movement. Somebody in a big institution or algo bots selling the Bitcoin. It's just obvious. Just forget everything here. Forget order blocks, forget imbalances, forget engulfing pattern. Just think about why the price drops this sharply. Because someone is getting ready to sell. This is where you set your alarms. The problem with the beginner traders is they are trying to get confirmations from indicators, such as RSI oversold, then buy, EMA 9 crosses below EMA 20, then sell, MACD cross happened, then buy again. Beginner traders are trained like robots. However, you should learn to read the price like your friend without any indicator. Keep asking the question, what is the market maker trying to do? What is the price trying to do? These are your questions. Now, I'll open the low time frame charts and look for a valid market structure break or a market structure change. Let me replay it while taking notes. Now, waited for a MSP here. However, as you can see, the MSP is not really high quality. It just concerns me a little. However, I have two confirmations. The first one is the QML. The second one is the 1 minute imbalance, even if it is a tiny one. These are little breadcrumbs of the market makers for us to take positions. My entry here is right after the 1 minute imbalance is filled and reacted after the QML zone. What I was waiting for is a strong drop, a nice hammer or pin bar, which can you see here. Let's see the possible stop losses. You must determine your stop loss much before your entries and take profit points. As always, the best stop loss is the highest swing point. This is the one. If you use the risk-reward ratio, this will reduce your reward, however, which will put you in a much more secure trade. The second possible place is the top wick right after your entry. This will increase your reward greatly. However, you are so close to being stopped out. These all depend on your capital and your risk management. I cannot guide you about how much risk that you should take. My target was this giant imbalance area, which was an obvious imbalance within 15 minutes as well. However, I closed this position early because I was over trading and I had other things to do. I locked my profits here. Later on, I put the Bitcoin chart on another screen to watch the price action for possible long positions, as you can see. As I said in the beginning, it's not the best option to open a long position in such a downtrending asset. There's a clear MSP for a possible long position with 15 minutes chart. However, I wanted to watch the price action in low time frames. As you can see clearly, there is no clear or powerful upwards movement with any kind of high quality MSP in low time frames. I said this probably 100 times. Best entries are found in low time frames. There is no entry here for a long position. Before we close today's session, you have to understand this. 2022 is quite tough for investors, swing traders, and even day traders. Expecting rallies for financial securities is quite hard because the Fed and many other central banks are raising interest rates and trying to do quantitative tightening, which is cutting the money supply and stopping injection money into economies. So as a result, investors will prefer to stay in cash or take profits from their investments. So as day traders, we should be looking for more short opportunities rather than the long nowadays. Of course, if there's a clear long opportunity, do not miss that. This is why I encourage you to read the specific news every morning, which are Fed talks, Fed decisions, economical data, interest rates, money supply, central bank reports, and so on. All these will give you market bias about the direction of financial securities. Okay folks, I hope that you enjoyed the video. As I said, we traders should try new positions with the risk management. Keep our losses small as much as possible. Would you like to subscribe to the channel and leave a like for me? For now, please take care and see you soon.